George, the first one is perhaps no surprise to anyone, but we lost a ton of data from USAID. We lost the Development Experience Clearinghouse. This was decades of program learning, evaluations, and implementation evidence. This is one of the highest profile ones that we lost with the destruction of USAID. George, this is decades of really detailed technical program implementation reports, reviews, and studies that has been lost. There is backup paths, right? There's various versions of backups of this stuff does exist. But George, this was institutional memory erased. And I can go through other ones. And it's, I think, pretty obvious what kind of data sets this current administration doesn't like having. The next one is the federal sexual orientation and gender identity measures. The third one is the NOAA weather and climate disasters database. You start to get the idea, right? There's an agenda behind what data we are losing. George, what should nonprofits and the social impact sector be taken away for the fact that we're losing data? What does that mean?
Well, big picture is we had to choose the top 10 because the truth is, according to, I think, the best source, which is like there's a Wikipedia page dedicated to all of these sources that are getting yoinked, deleted, or disappeared, is around 342-ish of these data sets, depending on how you're counting them. And essentially, there's like a handful of organizations, including Wikipedia, archive.org, institutions like Harvard, other legal sources, NPR, a lot of nonprofits, basically, a lot of nonprofits backing these data up. Now, the farther from sort of the moment of disappearing we move, the more time that goes, the harder it can be to revive and recover this information. And I think it would make sense for your organization maybe to take a look at, maybe you're dealing with health. Well, you should scan, and like we did you can do a quick filter for all of the things from the CDC that maybe you really care, like 3,000 plus CDC pages that were affected around various topics. CDC pregnancy risk assessment monitoring systems, data around the EPA's EJ screen, which combine environmental hazards with demographic data to show where pollution burdens hit vulnerable populations. Like, these are important to organizations that don't want to play Groundhog's Day with impact, with collecting information and seeing what's going on out there. So here's the call to action: is go and maybe back up a backup. Use your corner of the website, servers that you pay for, to house these data.
Yeah, George, I think that's a good call out, right? And I think, as the old saying goes, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. But in the social sciences, there's some truth to that, in so much as that data sets can be influenced by the people who manage them. And I think, George, that we are now seeing that played out, right? Not only are we getting data sets, right, deleted, but different methodologies may be capturing data in different ways, right? Maybe data sets are also being altered. We saw the deletion and the reframing of issues across all of our government websites, right? The NASA.gov website no longer has a climate section, right? Because, that's, we're seeing that writ large. And if you're working in these spaces or with local communities in particular, right, in which some of these data repositories might shed light, right, on, those communities in Louisiana that see like incredibly high rates of cancer, right? Like all of these data sets, it's not just a loss for like program measurement, George, but it's also like a historical loss in a way, right? Like this is an understanding of our society and the strengths and weaknesses. I think it's kind of in some ways much more profound than that, and it brings up existential questions, right, about the longevity of our memories when it's held in digital locations. So if you're a nonprofit, hedge against that. Download these data and keep it for future generations so that they know, what was happening.